Hi, welcome to the Camtasia vs. ScreenFlow Smackdown. When doing screencasts on a Mac, these are two heavyweight tools that will give you great videos. But there are differences in features, approaches, and techniques which can determine how long it takes to complete your project, and whether or not you can create the look and feel you had in mind. Since we want to avoid platitudes and talk about details, this is going to be a 4-part review. We're going to see how these two heavyweights go toe-to-toe in 7 categories of functions that are important to screencasting. Round 1. Recording. First up, Camtasia. To set the parameters for a new recording, we go to File, New Recording. This brings up a dialog which allows us to specify the sources. We can select a mobile device connected to our computer, the full screen of our desktop, a custom region in our desktop, or any of the canned resolutions on our desktop. Let's go with custom region. We can also specify 2 different audio sources. If we have a microphone connected, either through the input line or as a USB mic, we can select that for input. We don't have that right now. And we can select system audio, which is all the sounds we hear on our computer. If we have a webcam connected to our computer, we can also record simultaneously from it. If we go to the preferences, we can set the screen frame rate. 30 frames per second is good for this demo. Once we're ready, we click the red button and we need to specify our custom region. We draw a rectangle, we can grab it and position it to exactly where we need to record and make some fine adjustments. Once we're ready to record, we just click on the red button and we get a nice countdown. Now let's make a nice screencast with a couple of examples of clicking buttons and hitting modify keys and typing in some keystrokes so that we have a good sample to show some of the features later on. When we're done, we go to the menu, select the Camtasia icon, and click Stop Recording. Now our screencast is ready to go in a new project area. Next up, ScreenFlow. To set up the parameters for a ScreenFlow session, we go to File, New Recording. Here we can specify our video source. It can be our desktop, a connected iOS device, or a webcam that's connected to our computer. We can select all 3 to record simultaneously if we wanted to. We can pick the audio source to include a mic that's attached to our computer, or the system audio, which are the sounds you hear coming out of your computer. There's a second page of parameters where we can set the recording frame rate. Automatic is good for this demo. And there's a handy timer function which actually allows us to automatically shut the recording after a specific amount of time. When we're ready, we click the red button and we get a nice countdown. Now we'll make a quick demo which we can use to show you the other features later. Notice how we have to capture the entire desktop. It's ScreenFlow's philosophy that any cropping and zooming in should be done post-processing. This is all well and fine, but personally I like to make the choice myself. Once we're done, we go to the menu, select the ScreenFlow icon and click Stop Record. Now we get a dialog which actually lets us direct the recorded session to an existing document or a new document. We go to our example document and we see that our recording is in the media library, which we can drag down into our timeline, and we're ready to go. Scorecard. Camtasia takes round 1. Round 2. Mouse effects. First up, Camtasia. We can open up a properties panel and see that there are tabs for video properties, sound properties, and mouse properties. The default mouse properties are scale and opacity, which allows us to control the size and translucency of our mouse. If we want additional ones, we go to the cursor FX. Notice the preview of the special effect that you get in the little panel there. We drop it right onto the video clip, and we see that the properties for the cursor highlight has been added to our mouse tab. Here we could control the opacity, the size, and the blur of this particular effect. There's a nice reset button for us to set it back to the factory settings. And then we have a nice yellow highlight following our little mouse around. Another one is the cursor spotlight. Oops, we forgot to cancel the highlight. Notice you could have both of them if you actually wanted to. The spotlight, we can control the size, the softness of the spotlight, the saturation, which I'm not sure what that is, and the opacity, which is actually how dark the rest of the screen is. See the nice spotlight that follows your mouse around to draw the user's attention to it? Okay, let's try the next one, magnifying glass. Here you can control the size and a shadow, which actually gives it a nice 3D effect. You can control the zoom, which is how magnify things look in the spyglass. And let's see how that looks. Nice. Other properties we could set are when the mouse buttons are clicked. We have the left mouse button click. First property is kind of a radar ring. Notice on the bottom that the green bar shows us with little indentations when we actually clicked our mouse during this demo clip. And then we have little pings there. See, when it hits the mouse click, yeah, we get a nice red ping. Draw attention to it. Notice this effect can be set to play before or after the click. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, for you sniper fans, we get a nice scope animation here. Where you get kind of a zeroing in bang effect. Zero in, bang, clicked. Bang. Now let's see what that looks like with the effect after the click. Notice the animation is significantly different. There's no swirling around. It just kind of fades in and fades out. The next effect is kind of a sci-fi-ish effect. It warps the screen when the mouse is clicked. And here let's, oops, I think I accidentally deselected the video clip. Let's try to get those properties back. Oh, let's select that. Oh, there it is. Okay, we can set the size of this effect, its intensity, and for this effect, the duration, since it's kind of an interesting animation. Wow, look at that. Captain, the warp screen can't hold out much longer. Sorry, I had to do that. We have another cinematic type of effect with the ripple. This effect is kind of like the Matrix, where Neo does his Superman takeoff. Here we can set the radius, the intensity. Whoa! Very cool effect. And last, we have a bullseye, which zeroes in on where the mouse got clicked. Now, the right mouse button has all the same effects as the left mouse button. Next up, ScreenFlow. If you go to the Screen Recordings tab, you'll see that there are some parameters that allow us to generate some mouse effects. There's a pointer zoom, which lets us control the size of the mouse cursor, and an opacity to set how translucent it is. There's a checkbox that lets us turn the mouse on and off altogether. And there are two effects that we can employ for the clicking. There's the standard radar, which is a red ring, but we don't have much control since we can't control the color or the thickness. There's a invert effect, which turns the mouse to the opposite color when there's a click, so the black turns to white. This is a little more interesting when we use some of the other pointers actually. They allow you to change the pointer into a circle that's light, a circle that's dark, and a square. Now, the more interesting thing is they allow you to actually use one of your own images to be the mouse. So let's see what this small Minecraft sword image looks like. It's a little big, so let's scale that down a bit. That's a good size. And let's put some sound on. That's another option they allow you to do. Here's the standard sound. That's a little clicking you hear. And if you open up the sounds, you have some more options. You can set the volume of the sound, and you can actually put in your own sound file, so you could create a sound that's suitable to the image that you put in. So let's see what this looks like. Ah, we got a little swordplay going on here. Take that! And that! On guard! Scorecard! Despite the valiant swordplay, the round goes to Camtasia.